All right. People are just scrolling in. We're gonna give it like 1 minute.
Sure. Yep.
All right, it looks like we have quite a few people in here, so we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Haley Ferlin, and I am the marketing manager over at Assure Alliance. And today we are here with our second of 3 webinars with the lovely Agency Revolution. Today we're going to be covering email and social media marketing for the independent agent, which is the general theme. We also have Nanda Kishore, who is one of our Assure Alliance members, on with us today. And I will pass it off to Cliff, VP of Marketing at Agency Revolution, to get us started.
Thank you so much, Haley, to let us come back and do more of this dog and pony show. We've been super excited. We kicked this series off in May. And for those of you who were there with us or maybe saw the replay, the big picture was how do we market our agencies digitally? How do we create email and social content? What type of content? Who do we want to speak to? What do we know about our audiences? We've got the wonderful, inimitable Ali Baldari here on the call with us from my product team. And here, I think we've even got a great picture to go along with Ali. So Ali here is our big baby from the product team. She's fabulous. She's wonderful. She shows us how to execute all these fanciful ideas that I, the marketer, come up with. But more important than myself or Ali on today's call, we have the real superhero of today's call, one of your colleagues, Nan Kishore. Nan Kishore, could you tell us maybe just a few words about your agency and why you decided to join us on this call today?
Thank you. I'm Nan Kishore, and my agency is Royal Georgia Insurance Agency in Atlanta. We are a very new member of the Assure Alliance, and I decided to join because I was super excited to understand how we can do all this marketing, which we had been discussing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And Nan Kishore has been an invaluable partner to us as we've worked through this, because we asked for someone to do a very brave thing. We said, we've talked conceptually about how to do marketing, right? But we want to do something unusual. We want to kind of create a spectacle here today. And we're going to implement the early first stages of Nan Kishore's marketing plan right here on this call in front of you. So I want to stress that in my session in May, I prefaced that perfect is the enemy of good, right, guys? It's important to move fast. To fail fast is a term that I actually like, because it gives you the freedom to say it doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be something, right? And so in spirit of that, I want you to understand that, we've had one meeting with Nan Kishore prior to this session. We gathered requirements about his business. We discussed what types of tactics and audience segments were important to his business. And as we go through the session today, he'll share with you a little bit about why we made the choices that we made. And then we're going to show some of the work that we've done on Nan Kishore's behalf and how to implement that in the software. So today's focus is going to be looking at some of these templates that we're going to be using to execute Nan Kishore's vision. We're going to talk a little bit about how we schedule some of this, and perhaps if there are elements that are sequential, meaning, it's more than just one thing, right? We start and we go onto the second, third, fourth touch of a sequence, perhaps. And then we're going to spend a little bit of time. Ali's going to pop in and go through some of the audience building, right? So as part of this project, Nothing about this is fake or staged. These are Nan Kishore's clients and Nan Kishore's business that we're working on, right? No policyholders were harmed in the making of this webinar. However, we are working with real data and real ideas that you'll see today. So in the spirit of that, the first thing to discuss here is what will the basis of our marketing be? And if you call back to our session in May, if you haven't seen it, go watch the video, okay? I promise I'm almost as entertaining there as I am today. And in our content by type, what we're saying is, okay, just to get started, we need to do more than just send an email asking people to buy policies, right? That's not very fun. It doesn't make people feel good. We need to do something more. So what can we produce? If we think of ourselves like maybe like a small newspaper, right? What can we produce that is valuable and that adds something to the lives of the folks that we support? So in this case, Nan Kishore and I and the rest of the team met. We discussed his business and we said, in this case, and you'll find a lot of these things in that deck from May too, so we didn't steer too far from the tree. But we said that a community newsletter would be important because community is a very important part of Nan Kishore's practice. That we've got a lot of new clients onboarding that we would like to sell other policies to. Sort of a multi-policy approach, and also being able to, tell stories about the way certain policyholders have benefited. So, Nan Kishore, do you have anything to share with us today about the types of content we selected, why you think it would be important to your business, and why you made the choices that you did?
Yes, as we did a brainstorming last time, community newsletter will be very important, because when we'll be sending email, the important part is not that people just pass through the email, but get involved with the email. So if you put the community things, they will be interested what is going around with the community, and most of our policyholders are coming from the same community. So we can create interest will create involvement, and once they're involved, we can take them to also idea of what we are selling and what we are doing and how they should be selecting Royal Georgia Insurance. So that was number one. Number two, new policyholder onboarding. We didn't have any system where new policyholder has come. So many times they just feel that they've come, but they are lost. They just took a policy and then the relation is over. But we want to continue that relationship, which can also like go to the third point, which we are discussing, that the client which has bought either personal insurance or commercial policy will also have another policy with us. One point more I want to add, most of our clients at my agency are the clients who has like more houses or maybe house and then more cars, or maybe they have businesses and the personal also. So clients are having more policies. So it's easy for me to go to that multi-policy approach.
Yeah. And one thing I liked in our discovery meeting, Nan Kishore, is you shared with me an assumption that you made about your business, right, guys?
Yes.
And we all make assumptions, right? We go into business, but you have to make assumptions, right? And Nan Kishore said to me, I thought I would be doing more personal lines. And what I discovered is actually quite a lot of my customers own a business, and they are coming to me for insurance on a business, maybe even multiple businesses that they own, right? And Nan Kishore, smart, looked at his data and said, the data says my assumption was wrong. And the data says that I have more commercial lines and my opportunity is sell into personal lines. So that's part of the engagement here to do is reacting to data and marketing around that data.
You are very right. I initially thought that I'll have 70 to 80% personal lines, because I was knowing people personally, meeting them at our religious and social places. So I thought I can just tell them, give me your house insurance or car insurance. Right. But then it's a completely reverse. I have more than 70% commercial policy, and I'm still struggling to get personal policy from the same people. I don't know what's my struggle, but in the journey which we decided to do together, from the data, we'll be able to find it out what's either stopping them or what we have not done correct, which we can do correctly to get them also giving the personal policies to us.
Yeah. And I do believe, Nan Kishore, sometimes as a marketer, I've been a marketer most of my career, and I was a salesperson prior to that. So I'm very used to asking people for their business and asking people for their trust. And I do believe that people buy from who they like. I like Nan Kishore quite a lot, and I've only just met him this week. And so I believe that if we share this content and we share the community engagement and Nan Kishore's involvement in the community and being a member of this community, I do believe that over time that will soften the resistance to migrating a client from commercial to personal lines. So yeah, and if any of you agents on the line have experience with that, feel free to network with Nan Kishore and the rest of us and share ways that you've overcome challenges like that.
Most welcome. Anybody, anytime. Most welcome.
So I've got a few slides here. We won't go into them in great detail. Some of these are callbacks to the May session. Okay. So in the May session, if you remember, we talked about high-level concepts, but we did not get into the weeds of a lot of things. Same here, guys. There's more information than we have time for. So I've included some reference slides, some ideas on how to make newsletters, to how to engineer, a testimonial request. So as you're working through this on your own, please do reference some of the knowledge there. So next, we said we want to define what we want to say, right? We also want to define who we want to say it to. So in this case, we said we care a lot about new policyholders and onboarding them appropriately, asking them for referrals, et cetera. And then, as we previously discussed, policyholders that have commercial lines only. So Nan Kishore, this is all pretty self-explanatory here, but any comments or observations about picking our audience and using a program like Accelerate to be able to talk to different audiences by just a couple clicks?
I'll say, I don't know, that is my experience, but most of the agencies have a lot of things to do on the table. So many times they want to send an email or send some kind of a note to the clients and keep them involved, but because the support is not there, or they may not be knowing what is the right way to get those things, that is making them hesitant or making them busy. That's why they are not able to do that. So if the right things are available, what you're saying, I think most of the agency holders knows that step one, we should welcome 2, 3, 4, but we are not able to implement. I don't know what is the experience of other agency people, but that's my experience.
Yeah, no, I understand that. And actually, I can relate to that, Nan Kishore, as a marketer. I feel sometimes I enter what's called analysis paralysis, right? And I think, how do I do this? How do I do this well? Do I have the right tools, right? And sometimes I even, that's okay. And so that's why part of this today is, we'll be looking, Ali will show us how to take the data that you have shared with us and how to get that into the system, and then how to execute actual communication, based on that. And, it didn't, I know I spent a few hours on this, Nan Kishore, I know you did too, but guys, I want you to understand that everything we present on this call today, is a product of maybe 45 minutes worth of marketing consulting. And then, a few hours worth of work from a marketer, a few hours worth of work from Nan Kishore. Now I don't come included with Accelerate, right? So that's one unfair advantage that Nan Kishore has. But if we take the marketer out of the loop and we just say that the insurance agent did this over maybe a period of a week instead of 2 days, right? Then it's still okay, right? Again, I've got more reference slides here on how you're going to leverage data, right? So we say we want to build these audiences. Well, how do we do that? We go to our AMS, we go to our CRM, we go to our Excel files, whatever, right? However it lives today, perhaps the carrier, whatever. But we get that data and we start to build a calendar, right? So we start to build our plan. We want to send this newsletter monthly or quarterly. We want to send a story about combining policies and saving on a monthly basis, right? So we make some of those choices that we've done together, Nan Kishore and I have. And then we start to build that out. So the rest of this is real content, some of the practices that I used creating this stuff. And so all this is here for you to reference and think through. But instead, we're actually going to jump into the software itself. So no further ado, I'm going to pop right in to Accelerate. Okay. And so, guys, this is the same platform that all of you have access to. You know, if you've purchased licensing to Accelerate through Assure Alliance, you have access to this white labeled solution just for you. It's going to look like this. If you don't have it already, you know, get in touch with Haley or Holly and, you know, go ahead and get yourself signed up so you can, you know, be playing in the same sandbox with me and Nan Kishore. This is not Nan Kishore's account. This is my account. So I've built all this out in here and we'll be sharing this with him. But today I'm going to keep things really simple. There are a lot of places we could go here. But today we're going to focus on email. And today we're going to focus on specifically creating some of the content around the email newsletter or the community newsletter. So I'm going to show you guys two different ways that you could work with content. One is a very standard basic approach working within the Accelerate tool itself. And then another would be, you know, a slightly more sophisticated approach using a free Canva account, which again, we've talked in the last session that Canva, which is a marketing software, can integrate with Accelerate. And content is available through Canva. So if you've ever talked to a marketer, you've probably heard the term Canva get brought up. It's free. You can access it through Accelerate right now. And so some of the stuff I did build out in there. And I use templates, right? So guys, you don't have to be a designer. I'm not, Lord knows. But we can and show you a couple of different ways to do this. So first thing we'll do is we'll pop over here into the content library. Okay, and we're going to go over here to emails. And at this point, I have two different templates that I've created. I've got a community newsletter for Royal Georgia, V1 and V2. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on V2, and we're going to talk about some ways we can build with content in here, some different pros and cons, the way the interface works. And then I'll show you another approach, which is through Canva. All right, so I've got a preview loaded here, which we could export as a PDF if we needed to share this with anybody or maybe get feedback from somebody we're working with. Instead, I'm going to go here into edit mode. Okay, and you guys see on my screen okay? All right, great. So here, all I've done, guys, is I've just gone into the existing content library. This exists for you today. If you were in Accelerate right now, you can go click on this and you can go right where I'm going. Okay. So I've done just a couple things. So this was a basic template in here, and all I've simply done is start to add a little bit of content for Nan Kishore. Now, this looks a little scary up here. You see a watermarked image, but if you want to see what this looks like to the client, well, it says Royal Georgia Insurance because I've already taken his logo and I've already uploaded that into the software. You know, that's a very simple 3-click process. The software is already pulling in some of Nan Kishore's some colors that are complementary to the design of the email and the design of the brand. And you can see when a client receives this, you know, it's going to look nice. I didn't update the image down here, but again, if this were Nan Kishore's account, this would be Nan Kishore's image, his name, his information, all of his disclosure information. All this stuff exists as static content that lives in the platform. And what I mean by that is the footer and the header, you know, they can live forever, right? And then all you need to do is just make the content what you want it to be in the middle. Working with the content, you know, it's so easy. You know, it's just a matter of clicking on these things, you know, uploading files. If I want to replace an image, let's say I want to tell a story here There's a local business owner, Raj in Smyrna. And, you know, for example, if I were working with Raj and his business, PulseWorks, you know, I could simply upload that content right here in the application. So working with the content is just as easy as grabbing the content off the web. Editing the text is as easy as clicking on these boxes and pasting that content in, guys. So if you want to take a very simple approach to your newsletter building, and you know, you want to have a basic approach that's going to look like this, you could do this in probably 30 minutes in the builder, I would argue, right? No more difficult than that. Now, if you'd like to do something a little extra, and I always try to be extra in all my endeavors, guys, then you know, we could take this even a step further. So since I'm a marketer, if you were to have a little bit of marketing experience or have a little bit of bravery and want to go play with Canva, or maybe you just have an extra $200 or $300 a month, then you want to hire, you know, a college student who's got some experience with Canva. What I've done in here for Nan Kishore is I've gone into Canva. I want you to know, guys, this is so easy. Nan Kishore was probably impressed. He probably thinks I'm a good marketer, but Nan Kishore, I'm going to let the air out of your sails a little bit. I went into here and I found a template that I really liked, guys. You know, and I copied that over, and then I started to update with content that
But it was done really nice.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. But I want you to know, anybody could do this. Nan Kishore could have done this, right? I just help him out.
I wish.
So
one day I'll be master of it.
One day, yeah, no, I'll stay with you, friend. Well, it's easy to build this stuff. You can pick a template, and guys, there's templates in Canva for everything, right? So you create a template, and then Nan Kishore, he just shared me a few links, right? So there's the BACC that he's a board member of, right? There are some other board members that I found on that website. We talked about some events that are going on in his community newsletter, guys. So this wasn't hard. I mean, in a few minutes on the phone, we decided that community was the heart of Nan Kishore's business. And I said, send me a couple links, right? And then a couple hours later, I have this, right? So don't let fear stop you, right? Jump into Canva, hire a college student, use the builder, you know, forget Canva, just jump in here and upload some images, guys. You know, that's all you need to do to get started. So, but here, we've actually done a lot for Nan Kishore's business. So this was just yesterday. We created a nice template here for a newsletter, and I'll show you how we can implement that in Accelerate. We've created a nice template here to be able to tell spotlights, right? We've changed the heading a little for each. So up here we have a heading that says Royal Georgia Insurance, Better Together, Community Events, right? And so then we go down here and we say we're still better together, but we want to talk about combined policies and save. So now every month we'll send out a community newsletter, right? It should only take about an hour worth of work. Every month we will find a story of someone. We're not actually doing business with Raj, I want to say. If anybody knows Raj and PulseWorks, right, just know that I found him as a local member of the Smyrna business community. And I said, well, hey, what if we were working with Raj? You know, so we're gonna tell a story here about Raj's background. We're gonna make the focus of the spotlight about Raj. And then we're gonna say, by the way, we also saved Raj some money. Maybe you want to click here, come to our website and learn more, right? So that's going to get them onto Nan Kishore's website in the future. That's going to help them understand more about what he has to offer, other ways in which he's engaged with the community. Then we say, well, you know, community is our theme here, right? So we create another template, Better Together, where you can find us, right? So then this template is going to be for when Nan Kishore is out in the community, when there's a local celebration, a big event. You know, summer is coming up. Summer, we're in it, guys, right? So there's a lot going on in your communities. If you want to be at a farmer's market, if you want to be somewhere at some cultural event or celebration, in Nan Kishore's case, you know, we're going to go to the Global Mall. And so we're going to go, there's going to be all sorts of vendors and tables. There's going to be demonstrations, but guess what? Nan Kishore is going to be there living amongst the community, and we're going to let people know about that and ask them to, come to the event. Then we've gone on beyond that. We've said, well, hey, what about welcoming new clients, right? So again, guys, simple template in Canva, not a whole lot of work here if you're brave. If you think I've already got too much on my plate, Cliff, shut your dirty mouth. Then guys, really just go find an intern, go find an inexpensive marketer. I've been known to moonlight on the side. Heck, do whatever it takes. And somebody can whip this stuff up for you. And then you've got a template. So now to every new client, we can say, better together, congratulations. We're honored to welcome you to the Royal Georgia Insurance family. We take our commitment to you and our community very seriously. We'll protect your family in the most affordable way possible. And we've got a few things that we ask them to prepare, right? And then a button to allow them to schedule time with us and go do this policy review. And knowing Nan Kishore, he's going to be the likable guy that he is. They're going to say, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've only covered my gas station with you. Thank you so much. Now here's 70 personal policies that we're going to bring over to you today. That's probably not going to happen. The 70 is at Nan Kishore. Probably not 70.
No, you never know.
You never know. You never know. They could have 70 personal policies, but anyway, this is going to be to help here. We've also created a template, a thank you template that we can send to anybody who is part of Nan Kishore's business, who has trusted him with that. And in this case, we're asking for referrals. So we're saying, okay, you were a new client. We're going to welcome you, and we're going to give you some love, and we're going to spend time with you. And then now we've given you some of our time, and we've shown you how wonderful Nan Kishore is. Can we ask you please for a referral? And this is why it's important to our community. So, we've got all this stuff ready to go. If you want to implement some of this stuff in Accelerate, this is technically next level, right? This is above the basics, but you can do it. So if we go back in here, I'm going to go ahead and close out of the builder. And instead, we're actually going to go look at another template that I've created. Oh, no, we zoomed in. Okay, we'll go back to email here. And yeah, this is V1 here. So now we're going to go back into edit mode. And guys, I just want to show you that if you want to take more control of your design in here, you can do the basics that I showed you in the builder. But if you want to have more control over how you implement this, or if you're working with a marketer or an agency, they can just deliver the image content to you. So see, I've taken that nice thing that I did in Canva, and all I did was just screenshotted this stuff, guys, right? And I created images for the visual assets in Canva, and then I uploaded them. See, it's just the same as when I uploaded let's say we don't care about that segment, and we just want to keep talking about Raj. We love Raj. And so we put Raj here, and updating these images, guys, it's no more difficult than that. But in this case, I've just sliced up a Canva file and dropped these things in here. And if this stuff seems scary, but you want something that looks this nice, again, this is not heavy duty or expensive work if you were to partner with a marketer, or maybe you got a nephew or niece, who's going to school for marketing. This is stuff they could do in their sleep, I promise. So I think at this point, we're ready to pivot from content to audiences. I want to take a quick break here. Is there any questions that people either want to share in chat or come off mute and talk or ask questions about content before we get into curating our audiences in the software? And that's okay. That's okay if we're quiet today. So think about those questions, guys. If you've got questions about the content curation, Nan Kishore, do you have any comments or questions about the content curation? Can you talk a little bit about kind of your experience kind of making some of these choices with me, how we made them, and then now you're seeing them on a screen, right? You know, did this feel like a difficult process? If I had not been involved, based on what I've showed today, do you think, you know, are some of these some skills that over, you know, maybe a month or 2 or 3, you know, do you feel like these are things that you could do on your own too?
Honestly, I like to say, you know, when you created it, it surprised me a lot, very
Yep.
honestly. And you must have seen in my email, which I confessed. Initially, when we were discussing, I thought that we are going to do something, but I was not like very sure that we'll be doing something exactly like this or something fantastic like this. But when you give me the first community letter, I already decided that I'm going on that line. I'll be doing it.
Okay.
I already started even thinking that we may be doing community newsletter from other organization where I'm connected, which I have not shared with you, but I'm thinking of. Now, when you're showing me that it is so easy to make, it is surprising to me that why have I not gone inside and have done this whole thing myself?
Oh, yeah.
Though I know that I've done a little bit research inside, but I have not gone this deeper. So when we do a journey together, I'm understanding that it is this easy. And even like, okay, for Royal Georgia, I may be doing, but for other organization, if I want to do, I can just keep somebody and I just say that person, maybe paid or unpaid intern or maybe director, who can spend half an hour and can prepare it.
Yeah.
And that's a wonderful thing. Honestly, this is a wonderful thing because that will allow us to involve our existing client and prospective client.
Yeah.
And for me, what I understand in insurance is, you know, we are selling on a relationship, because if we are not able to build a relationship with a client, it's going to be either one-time journey and the client will be losing a client or what, I don't know. So if there is a relation, and if this relation is staying longer and stronger, there are all chances that we'll be retaining clients and more referrals will be coming, which is very important for an agency. Because looking for new client every time and doing marketing is a very exhaustive process. Instead, if we have a good relationship, we get multi-policy and the referrals coming up and the existing clients don't go away, it is easy to build a agency. Like in a year or 2, you can easily go to like $1 million agency very easily. So what you're showing is making a lot of sense to me. And when you prepared it, I was happily surprised that, wow, what has come to my table. So I'm going to do it for sure. Though after this meeting, webinar, we'll be discussing one-to-one and we'll find it out that how Royal Georgia is doing, but we are doing it. And on personal note, you know, I felt embarrassed that why have I not done it when it can be done so easily? Honestly.
No. Thank you, my friend. That's
you just showed me a mirror where I think that I'm lazy.
Oh no. This
I could have gone deeper in that one. I think I was perhaps, I don't know, Eli can let me know, but I was among the first agency person who went to this one. Because when it came to my table, I was excited and I immediately dropped email that I'll be interested to see how the content and everything is there. And still I have not gone to this level. I wish everybody can go deeper, can find it out and can take the maximum advantage of it.
Yeah. No, thank you, Nan Kishore. I could not ask for a better evangelist and friend, you know, working on this project with me. And that was my hope. My hope is, because obviously I'm here to work with you while we're doing this webinar, right? But I'm not an employee. I'm not a part of your business, right? And I want you to see, right, although I do some of this, right, in this session, right, I want you to see how easy it is. And it makes me so happy for you to see, oh, you know, Cliff kind of, you know, he cheated a little bit. He used some templates, he used Canva, he made it easy, and maybe I could do what Cliff's doing. You know, that's my goal. Yeah. So
I was not knowing that you're copycatting. I was thinking it's creativity.
Yeah. No, I want you to be able to do this too. You can copycat too, Nan Kishore.
I understand now.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's enough for me. So Ali, let me ask you, as we start to get into audiences now, right? Because this is what comes next. Now we looked at Nan Kishore's kind of hopes and dreams and the content that he wants to create. And now we're going to look at Nan Kishore's data, but we'll keep it secret, keep it safe. But Ali, do you want to share your screen? Do you want me to drive? What do you want to do?
I'll take over. I'll share my screen. Easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, then I'll go ahead and stop my share and we'll go from there.
Right on. I'll tell you, Cliff, I'm trying to get over the fact you called me a big baby at the start of this thing.
Ah, come on.
Talk about that later, my friend.
That's not the most scandalous thing I've ever said in front of you, I'm sure.
I'm going to change my my LinkedIn profile. All right, let's see.
I think as a brand consultant, I think you should just continue to ride the big baby as your professional brand. And I think it's going to make people pay attention to you and hire you for more money.
You got it. There you go. There you go.
Okay.
All right. I hope folks are looking at my screen. I'm looking at the content library here in Accelerate. Is that what you all are seeing? I'm just on my laptop today, so I feel like I've got
Yeah,
one
yeah.
hand tied behind my back. I'm used to having multiple monitors. Before I dive into the nitty gritty of loading contacts into the platform, I want to touch on a few things that Cliff covered here earlier. I want to make sure that folks know here under email, create email template. This is where you navigate to create an email template to save to the library. I'm not necessarily coming here to send this email right away. I'm just building a template to save to the library to edit and use in the future. I can also, if I am sending an email right away, when I'm sending an email, and I'll come back to choosing these contacts in a moment, I have the option to save that email I am sending as a template. So there are a few ways to save emails as templates. You start from create email template over here on the left, or you can start from an email you're sending and you might think, you know what, I'm going to send this email again in the future. So I want to save it and have it accessible in the library. You can save it here as part of sending the email. So I just want to point that out to folks. And then one other item. So that is how you would create a standalone single email template. Unfortunately, I'll say that creating an email sequence template is not quite as straightforward. So I want to cover that very briefly. So here in the content library under emails, there are two types of emails you'll find in here. The standalone emails that Cliff has been demonstrating this morning, and then email sequences, which is just a series of emails that'll send on a set number of days in between each email. So from the library, you can find an existing sequence, click to use the sequence, and then customize the sequence. Like this is a templated sequence that exists solely for you to come in and fully customize. So customize the sequence. Maybe you're building the sequence as your onboarding sequence that you want to send to each new client. Come in here, customize the sequence. You can add emails, delete emails. You click in to fully edit the emails, and then you'll need to send the sequence to, let's say, yourself so that you can get to the end of this wizard and save the sequence as a template. So just like sending a standalone email, as part of sending it, you've got the choice to save it as a template. When you're sending an email sequence, you also have the choice to save it as a template. So for the sake of example, I am going to both send the sequence and save it as a template. And then now that it is saved as a template, right here, I've got that onboarding sequence that you just saw me send and save. I can come in here to use it. And when I use it, I can customize it for the client I'm sending it to, or I can always come in here and edit the primary copy of the sequence. So I just wanted to cover a little bit about standalone email and email sequence templates. So there you go. All right, and now you can build emails, you can build email sequences, but who are you going to send them to? So I'm navigating here to contacts, manage contacts. And one thing I want to point out, you can always, here I'm clicking this gear icon, import CSV. If you're not sure how to get started with importing your contacts, you can always come in here and download a sample file. So this will give you a good kind of template to start from. And this is what that CSV looks like. We've got a lot of contact data fields that you can import. However, it doesn't need to look this perfect. And I'm going to show you what it looks like to import Nan Kishar's list here in a moment. It's not exactly formatted like this. So don't think that you need to get the CSV from your AMS to look perfect. It doesn't need to look exactly like this. But these are all of the contact fields that we do support.
So Allie, could you tell us, at minimum, is it email and name? What would be the minimum required?
The bare minimum is email. I would, of course, advise that you've got email and name in here. And then for the sake of segmenting your audience and sending the appropriate emails to the appropriate contacts, I would also add a column called something like groups or segments or tags, so that I can, for example, get my new clients in a group. I can get my clients with commercial coverage only in a unique group, personal coverage only in a unique group. And I'll show you that here. Oops.
Yeah, thanks for calling out that groups column, Allie. That's
Sure.
key to what we're doing today with Nan Kishore's business.
Oh, forgive me. The Zoom is getting in my way. So here is the list that I got from Nan Kishore. And as you can see, it is not formatted exactly like that sample CSV. I have at bare minimum email, I've got segment, and I've got company name. So even these columns are not labeled exactly like the sample, which again is fine. I'm going to go ahead. Well, first, let me point out this segment column. I'm using this segment column to put these contacts into specific groups. So on upload, you will see this first contact added to 2 groups, commercial and new client. And I believe all of these Nan Kishore, excuse me, are new clients, but I'm pretending that just a few of them are brand new, just for the sake of example. So you need a comma separated list of the segments that each of these contacts should be added to. And then on import, we'll either add them to those existing groups, or if they don't yet exist, we'll create those groups on import. So let me show you what that looks like.
And folks, I would call out that if you're working with large amounts of data, right, you've done a big export from your AMS perhaps, if the attributes that you want to segment by are in different columns, so they're not the comma separated format that Allie just showed, there is certainly, and that's maybe a little out of scope for today, but there is Excel wizardry that you can do to combine multiple columns into a comma separated single column, right? So if you have thousands of lines of data, don't feel like you need to go through that manually. Hire a college student, who's got a certification in Excel or something, right? And or Google it. And there are ways you can merge that data into that comma separated format that Allie's referencing.
Yeah, you'll use something like concatenating in Excel to merge those fields into a single column. Exactly. And like I'm showing you here, you can import a single CSV of all of your contacts, and in that single CSV, put those contacts into various groups. You could also import several CSVs, one for each segment. So if that's a little easier, if you want to dump from your AMS the contacts that you want to put in, say, a commercial group, you can export that from your AMS, import those to a commercial group, and then move on to the next segment. So it doesn't all have to be in one CSV, but it can be.
Yeah. That's a really good call out. That's probably how I might do it, Allie. Like I might get scared about doing the, what I'm going to mispronounce it, the concatenizing.
You got it. Concatenate.
Right?
I think so.
I'd get nervous though. I'd get analysis paralysis.
I'm just a baby. I don't listen to me, but I think that is the way to say it.
Okay, carry on.
So I am importing that CSV that you had just seen me playing with over here.
Yep.
Upload, and then the next step is to map the columns in my CSV to our contact fields. So like you had seen, my company name and segment, these are the terms that the Accelerate platform uses for these different data points. So I am going to show the unmapped fields, and now I see that company name column and that segment name. Company name, I want to map to the first name field. And segment, this is how I am creating groups. So this is the workflow you'll go through. If you're not uploading a perfect CSV, which again, you don't need to, this is the workflow. Show unmapped fields, and you'll map each of your columns to the data fields, each contact data field. So again, it does not have to be a perfect CSV. You'll go ahead and upload contacts. And then you'll see most of the contacts were uploaded and put into the groups that we had called out. And then some were skipped because they were duplicate contacts. So the system is intelligent enough to kind of clean up your list for you. If you've got duplicates, they share both an email and a name, we'll skip them. So that kind of helps you keep things neat and tidy. Whoops, I just went back. All right, and now after uploading that list, I have got a commercial group, I've got a personal group, and then I've got 6 contacts in my new client group. So I just, in uploading that single CSV, I added about 40 contacts, and each of them I put into groups that didn't exist before I uploaded that CSV. And now,
You made it look easy.
I hope so. So now I'm going to navigate to email, send email, and browse email library from here gives me access not only to the existing emails in the library, but also the templates that I have created, specifically the templates that we saw Cliff create. So I'm going to choose my community newsletter. And I can either choose to send this as is. Maybe I had worked on this template ahead of time and this is the exact email I want to build, or excuse me, send. I can also come in here and edit it. So it's up to you if this is what you want to send, you're ready. You can also use our editing tools to edit the email. And you wouldn't be editing the primary copy, the template itself. You're just editing the version that you're sending. And then when you go to schedule, you've got those contact groups that you just created available to choose as your audience. I would assume that your community newsletter you want to send to all contacts, but you can always choose if this were something like a cross-sell email and you want to target your folks with only commercial policies, you can target that group here. You can also choose to send to just an individual that exists in your contact list. So you've got a few different ways to target this email.
And guys, as a marketer, please allow me to soapbox briefly and say, please don't underestimate the importance of really targeted content and segmentation. That really is like, if you went back to school for marketing, right? That it would be segmentation, personalization, right? Whether that's an email experience, an experience on your website, these days, brands and technology have made it such that people expect you to be speaking to them directly, right? They don't expect that newsletter to go, the newsletter perhaps, right? That goes to everybody, right? But almost everything else you do, those templates we showed earlier about onboarding new clients, right? You're not going to send that to your whole mailing list. People are going to be annoyed by that. So, this tool makes it very, very easy to segment in your business. And Allie, obviously Nan Kishore put some time into preparing the list. The list could be as easy as just a hit export from your AMS. But I hope you've seen in the last few minutes how easy this was. So yeah, carry on, Allie.
Sure. So as part of scheduling, you're choosing your audience, you're choosing exactly when you want the email to send. And then again, if this had not been a template and you started from scratch, but you want to save it as a template for the future, you could do so here. And then, don't worry, Nan Kishore, I'll cancel this email. I'm not sending it to your contacts. Then you're scheduling the email. And you can always navigate here to email, sent and schedule to see exactly what emails you have already sent, exactly which of your contacts interacted with that email, who opened, who clicked, and you can also see a list of your scheduled emails. You could also always navigate to the marketing calendar up here to see a list of your emails and social posts scheduled to go out in the next 2 weeks.
Fabulous.
So there you go. That's what I've got this morning.
Wonderful. I love it. So, Nan Kishore, tell me with all your honesty, who made it look easier? Me on the content or Allie on the list building and segmentation?
I'll need some more time to understand who is better.
Good. Perfect.
That's very diplomatic. That was
That
perfect.
is the answer of a wonderful salesman. So thank you. Well, friends, I hope everybody who's with us live today, and gosh, all the folks who are watching this as a replay later, I hope you've seen that it's not impossible to develop a marketing plan. It's not impossible to develop some copy and some content based on templates that you can do it right here in the platform, easy peasy, or you can pop out to Canva. And again, you don't have to be a designer. Use some of those templates and modify the stuff. You know, Nan Kishore will believe you're really smart like me. And instead it'll just be easy work for you. And then Ali has shown us how we take our data, and that we can take data in different formats with different headers in all wherever your data is, however it exists, right? And you can bring it in here, and then we've taken it all the way up to the point of scheduling, right? So I hope that you guys are learning that this is something you can do, that I believe in you, and that this is something you can do. So Nan Kishore, any questions or comments here as we're kind of bringing the call to a close? Anything from you right now?
I will just suggest to all my colleagues who are the agency people that please look into it. It's really helpful.
Yeah. Wonderful. And Haley, Elena, Ali, anything to share from any of your perspectives in closing here?
I just wanted to mention that at the end of the last webinar, Holly had mentioned some videos that she said we would have for you by today. So I'll be sending those out right after this session, along with the recording of this. So if you missed anything or you want to dive deeper into it, there's 3 videos on that are about like 3 to 4 minutes each, 2 to 4 minutes each. So I'll be sending those out for you. And that was
Thank
it.
you. And thank you for producing that content too, Haley. I think those little videos are really going to be super, super valuable because it's all part of the same message, right? That you can do this. You know, guys, this is not the amount that I'll just speak as the software guy for a minute here, but the amount that Assure Alliance subsidizes the software for you, I mean, they're really paying for most of it. There's a small investment from your agency. Nan Kishore and I were brave enough to kind of go out on a limb and show you that it's not too hard to produce the content. And, you know, this could be you in the next 30 days, right? So I love that. Know that, speaking of 30 days, know that we'll be getting together again around this time in July. It'll be much hotter down in sweltering Georgia and neighboring areas, but we'll be back on July 20th. And that session, folks, you know, we may have Nan Kishore pop back in briefly to talk about some of his experiences, you know, if perhaps we've executed on some of the content. We'll also be talking a little bit about KPIs, whether we're using Nan Kishore's you know, execution or just some other execution. But we're going to talk a little bit about, okay, we've executed, right? We've taken our baby steps. Then now, how do we go back and measure, decide if it's working for our business? Are we seeing traffic, et cetera? And then Ali's also going to give us some kind of, you know, think of it as like 200 level content, right? So, you know, last month in June, or excuse me, May, I'm behind now. May would have been kind of your 100 level course on how to use Accelerate. This was the group assignment. This was the class project. I've got to say, Nan Kishore was a great partner. It's not like those college classes where you're the one getting stuck doing all the work. Everybody in the group project participated. It was really good. And then next session is going to be that 200 level class, guys, right? Where we're going to look at some next level stuff. And then, you know, how do we measure what we did in the last session? So I hope you'll join us for that. And I have so much gratitude for your time being with us.
Thank
And
you.
that's all I've got for today.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.